Though by no means a surprise, 2020 showed us the necessity and importance of supporting Black voices in all facets of society. Corporations took notice of this, and in 2020, there were many campaigns meant to support movements that swept the globe. But as we get deeper into the new year and further away from the protests, these campaigns too fade further away. So a platform to amplify Black voices, businesses, and heritage is needed now more than ever. This semester, after almost a year in my apartment away from family and friends, I was tasked to find a design entry point in my local community. And with the past year in mind, one thing I couldn't get off my head was how much I wish I had had more opportunity to learn, grow, and feel at home in my community. Yes, I knew my favorites, but as quarantine had thoroughly blocked me from extended interaction with strangers, I knew very little about the history of the streets around me or even the restaurants highly praised by locals. So I came to a crucial question. How might I develop a system to connect the user more deeply to their specific community? I asked lots of questions about wants and needs when traveling and studied pre-existing systems of local navigation. But as I narrowed my focus, I realized that I had a huge opportunity to take my frustrations from the last year and beyond and develop a system that could not only teach you about your community and its history, but also supported small businesses and facilitate the user's participation in all of this. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Migrate, the cultural tourism app for New York City. Powered by the New York City Landmark Preservation Commission and the old NYC database created by the New York Public Library, Migrate is able to access and implement archives of Black historical landmarks as well as photography from almost every New York City block going back decades. Just to expand on these databases, the Story Maps archive allows one to filter through time periods as well as categories to explore Black landmarks of a wide variety. And to complement this database is the photo archive, where every red dot you see here is a collection of photos from that street and the surrounding area. Now let's take a look at the app itself. As a mobile tour guide, Migrate gives the user the opportunity to plan their own tour or simply receive prompts and info about their community as they navigate organically. In the image here, we see a user stopping on their walk and seeing that there might be an interesting location nearby. So let's click on it and open the app. Once we open our app, the first thing to do is begin by finding our tour. There are a bunch of options for us, so let's walk through them. Say you just got to the area and want to explore to find the best spots around, or maybe just learn a little bit about history without too much regard for what it is or where you find. You can take a tour curated by the Migrate team, and you receive a tour of highlighted locations based on your search radius or tour duration. So if we click on Take a Tour curated by us, we can access that tour. Now let's go back and explore our other options. If we click on Advanced Search, we're prompted with a few options to filter through. First, let's set our tour duration and search radius, and then let's select from the list. The list itself is directly based on the Story Maps database, so the filters here correlate as well. For example, let's begin by searching for a historical location from between 1945 and 1990 and click Done. Now it'll search for us and build a tour based on the results. Another cool part of the Migrate app is the ability to see locations in real time using the AR feature. So if we check the AR feature, maybe we're close enough to see where one of the locations is. And indeed we are. We've reached the Langston Hughes place, home of Poet Laureate Langston Hughes. If we click on the icon, we can learn more information about the site, as well as find new recommendations for a later tour. But if we go back to our AR display and click on the clock icon, we can see this exact street years ago via images from the old NYC database. And as you can see, the people and businesses may have changed, but the streets remain vastly the same. Already, we've begun to explore and enrich. Now let's go back to our map. Say instead of a tour, we just want to eat at a Black-owned business nearby. Then we can click on our dining tab and begin filtering through the options. For example, we want a vegan restaurant with superb reviews. Let's click Done and find one. Now we've reached information for the restaurant Seasoned Vegan. We can learn more about the place as well as find similar recommendations and add it to our favorites. Now the last feature I'd like to show, and one of Migrate's most important, is our contributions page. If we click on the plus icon, we can leave a contribution to the archive. Users can leave reviews, new info on historical sites, and even just list events and info on the community, as they would on a local bulletin board. This archive is ever growing, engages the many users, and gives them a part to play in the community. And with every submission we get, we step one step closer to the goal of lasting community. Migrate acknowledges the people and diaspora around the world and how, especially in melting pots like NYC, that are rich of culture, how difficult it can be to access due to current systems in place. So through exploration, enrichment, and engagement, we hope to find and fill some of these gaps and heal some of these wounds so that people in the future may lead richer lives in these spaces. As a complement to the mobile app, I would also propose landmark signage so that the users can easily find each location, as well as add an additional layer of authenticity to each site. Also, these would help new users to learn about the app and with QR codes be prompted to access more information and download the app itself. There already exist both archives for Black-owned businesses and restaurants, as well as tour guide apps, as seen in the examples above. But what sets Migrate apart is the focus on centering Blackness and a huge focus on greater New York area. I found no apps in my research that take advantage of these directories or databases and focus primarily on Black or POC culture. This app is directed at Black students and Black people new to the area, as well as residents who want to engage in staycation or learn more about communities like Harlem and many others. But it will also give exposure to Black businesses by making them the centerpiece of the platform. I started this project trying to find a way to make finding mom and pop stores and smaller local favorites easily accessible to newcomers. So this feature is particularly important for me. Moving forward, I would want to iron out some of these kinks in functionality and interface, but also I would propose this app as a plugin or add-on for Google Maps so that this information is easily accessible to everyone and they wouldn't need to install an entirely separate platform. I would also want to partner with apps that have a more distinct focus on Black-owned archives so that Migrate becomes a hub for historical and current fixtures of many communities. And with that, I will conclude. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.